You know, my friends and I have this joke that if you can make it in Dayton, you can make it anywhere. I think it was 2010, Forbes listed Dayton as the 4th worst city to live in. Dayton has never really been a rising star, and despite its name, the Gym City, I never really thought it was anything much. I live in the suburbs of Dayton, and there's nothing in the inner city, or I thought there was nothing in the inner city that would be worth my time to travel there. And it's always been kind of a goal to leave Dayton and go to someplace greater and better. But going to this TEDx conference, I was in a place with, I think they said 1,000 people who all had something or were interested in ways to improve the city, in ways to improve their lives, in ways to improve their family lives, their just all-around experience on this earth. One of the talks, I forget the lady's name, but it was called Date Your City. And she talked about how find things within your city that you like, find the perks, find the benefits, but then also look at, the other side, look at how you can form a relationship with your city. And that's what TEDx kind of did for me. It was the catalyst for me to start liking Dayton. It made me realize the true potential of Dayton. I was there, I was at the conference from 9 to 5 about. That's how long it lasted. And within that there were several talks, ranging from neuroscience to spoken word and poetry to improvisation to teaching to education, everything. TED really stood for technology, entertainment, and design. It covered all of those categories and more. And none of the talks let me down, except for one, but I'm not going to go into that because that's not what the talk's about. But none of the talks let me down. Every person that gave a talk was local, and they all had something to say, they all had interesting stories, and it reminded me that, it's not so much about what it looks like, it's about the stories within each household, within each person. I got the chance to go on a Caribbean sailing trip for a school program, and one of the things I learned when I came back was the same beauty that exists within the Caribbean exists within the suburbs. You just have to look inside the houses instead of on the outside, and that's kind of what I learned with Dayton is, it doesn't look like much. You look at it, you see like 6 buildings, like 6 kind of considerably big buildings, some broken roads and infrastructure, lots of poverty, but then you look at each person, you look at what they have to say, where they've come from, where they're going, and you realize that, there's not really a dull place in the world, including Dayton. I was hearing some of the stories, one of the Wright State's engineering professors was talking about a kid named Derek, I can't remember his last name, but his success story and how he came from poverty and failing out of schools, multiple schools, to getting a perfect score on Wright State's engineering final exam. I could never do that. And it's just these kinds of stories that, inspire you, and they bring you to life, and it kind of brings Dayton to life. And, it sends like little beacons of hope for people that live in Dayton. And it was really interesting, exciting, inspiring, and refreshing just to, be able to love where you're from, because, I go to LA and I see people who are like, yeah, I'm from LA. I go to Chicago, I see people from like, yeah, I'm from Chicago, and they're excited, they're proud to say it, and when they ask where you're from, I'm like, Dayton, and I kind of get this feeling of, I don't really want to be from Dayton, but, TEDx really showed me this ascending, TEDx really showed me this hope and light that exists within Dayton, and so that I'm very grateful. Thank you.